He's been singing Jesus Christ Superstar. You just got the tail end of it, I'm afraid.
Come on.
So we're just going to take this with Jason in the corner.
He's
on the computer. He's not on there very often. Give him a break. Today is Book Talk Day. So we're going to talk about Connie Willis. And I'm going to take up my notes off of my little bookmark. Starting with, I don't even remember what my notes were. I finished this almost a week ago. So we're going to go through it, have fun. That's a hand. So, note 1. Thanks, librarian, and acknowledgements. I like this. This was a good way to start the book. Time slip. Keep away from altering historical events. Oh yeah, I thought that was neat. How, because it's a whole time-traveling book, and, one of the problems with going back in time is, that butterfly effect sort of thing, where you go back, step on a butterfly, and kill your grandfather in the process, or something like that. So, the time slip with the thing that they were using made it so that when you were sent back in time, these were historians going back in time, they wouldn't be dropped in the exact same plot and point and place that you put into the machinery. The machinery would go, well, okay, this person has to meet this person in order for electricity to someday occur. And so we're going to place you just, 3 hours later. That way they can meet and you won't have anything to accidentally bungle up. So I just thought that was a neat sort of concept. Starting off, it kind of reminded me of why I like urban fantasy, because there's no real need to stumble through all the jargon and everything. Ah! Thank you.
You're welcome. Good song.
Jesus Christ Superstar, if you didn't know those couple of notes. Ooh, there's a bug. Go away, bug. Oop, it jumped. Okay, but urban fantasy, you don't have to stumble through all the introductory jargon of, I don't know, like all the different words that they use for time traveling and everything, and all the machinery. You just, in urban fantasy, usually you've got your plain Jane, ordinary human main character who stumbles into all this magical fantasy stuff, and the magical fantasy stuff explains itself, and you've got like a guide or anything to teach the dumb reader slash character, hero, heroine. And so that's, lazy man's fantasy, I suppose. I know, sick and all, but Kivrin girl who time traveled is kind of dumb, lacking common sense and the more general knowledge of the Middle Ages sometimes. Self-explanatory. This is a faster than usual Eric sort of book. I still think it could have been half the size that it was, but halfway through it started to pick up, and that was better. Like one of my complaints was, there are entire chapters dedicated simply to the people back in the 20 whatever, the modern time, not knowing what's going on, complaining, freaking, and I just thought they were useless chapters. Like, okay, there's some sort of epidemic. We got it. Move on and do something now. I wanted to know what your opinion was on how they'd portrayed Middle English. Like, I thought, from what I'd known, I don't know about Middle English, but I thought nobody really knew how to pronounce Latin. And then here we come across Father Rock, and Kivrin understands his Latin, but not however they were pronouncing the Middle English. And that didn't jive with my knowledge of history, what I've learned. But I just wanted to know your opinion on it. She spends half the book aimless and sick, like that unbearable third of the Deathly Hallows. Yeah, that sucked. I don't want to hear, again, I don't want to spend a third, a half of the book. Then go, okay, she's sick. She's still sick. Okay, let's spend a couple chapters with the other people. At least they're freaking out about something. She's just sitting there. I thought their time travel was kind of stuffy and full of rules, but I'm also used to the Doctor's kind of mad and fluid ways. So that's, or even Dr. Brown from the Back to the Future, he's kind of a halfway point. He's like, no, don't do that. This'll screw up this, and that'll happen. Paradox. But he's still, I don't know, maybe it's a mad genius thing. Night, Jason.
Night.
I had such a soft spot for Father Rock. He was so sweet and caring and no, half the people in the town didn't like him and just hated the way he did things, but he was still there and treating them with a disease all the way to the end. And even if he did look like a cutthroat, I suppose, he was still very sweet and I liked him. You know, as opposed to the grandmother who was just sitting and useless. And in the end, my last note is that I loved Colin's slang. You think about the sort of slang that we use nowadays, and we've got, well, okay, I can't really use some of them, but a lot of the time they have to do with some sort of bodily function that you would otherwise think is gross and bad, and that's, you know, part of why it's a curse word, because it's just not something that you're supposed to think about in public, you know, like pooping or fornicating, you know, but those are swear words, oh, well, synonyms thereof. And so he had necrotic, which is what, dying flesh of, well, apocalyptic, and blood. So I loved his slang. I thought that was clever bits of linguistics, I suppose, kicking in. And I don't think we were doing facts of the day with the book reports, so I'm not doing anything. Cheers.